Qingyue Fairy. I once traveled 3,000 miles west with my senior brother and obtained the Sun and Moon Golden Wheel in the Kunlun Secret Realm. Linglong Emperor's Concubine. I once accompanied my senior brother deep into the Beihai Emperor's burial valley, and together we received the inheritance of the Dan Emperor. Undead Phoenix Queen. Hehe, a group of chicks. Do you know how his dragon phoenix immortal body came about? Crossing the realm of cultivation, Shantian discovered that he could see the luck and opportunities of others around him. With the idea of taking advantage of the protagonist's aura, Shantian began to actively make friends with those lucky sons. Later on, everyone gradually realized that anyone who practiced with Shantian would inevitably encounter great opportunities, without exception. From that day on, Shantian became the most popular mascot in the cultivation world. P.S. This book is also known as The Evolution of Non-Chieftains, 100 Harvesting Methods of Chives, Good Senior Brother, Take Me, and Senior Brother, How Can You Divide Me So Much? Fan Group Number 534175450, join unconditionally. VIP Fan Group 2875929004, requirement. Fan value above 500. P.S. The new book, The Self-Cultivation of the Immortal Emperor, has been uploaded. Keywords of the novel. I am really not the son of luck. No pop-ups, I am really not the son of luck. Download the complete text. I am really not the son of luck. Latest chapter reading. I'm afraid I'm not a fake protagonist in Chapter 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm afraid I'm not a fake protagonist in Chapter 1. Shantian is very depressed. He traveled into the world of cultivation. Becoming the 13th prince of the Great Flame Kingdom in the Eastern Wilderness in this world of cultivation. As for why is it so frustrating to travel through time and become a prince? Hehe. Because the prince he possessed is widely recognized as a peerless unlucky person. The mother of the 13th prince, Lady Lan, was originally the most beautiful woman of the Great Flame Kingdom and also the beloved concubine of the Flame Emperor. Her status in the palace was comparable to that of the Empress. According to normal circumstances, even if the son of Princess Lan competes for the position of Crown Prince in the future, there is still great hope. However, on the day of the birth of the 13th prince, Lady Lan died of difficult childbirth and massive bleeding. From then on, the 13th prince became the least favored son of Emperor Yen. Court status .1.1.1 As the 13th prince grew up, more and more unlucky things happened. He once raised a beautiful spirit pet flame spirit bird, but drowned in the imperial garden. He once planted a precious purple dream magnolia, but it was uprooted by the bear child. He once followed many princes to study in the Imperial Academy, but on the same day, the Imperial Academy collapsed. Apart from daily misfortune, the 13th prince also had no smooth journey on the path of cultivating immortals. Overall, today should be his 88th time going crazy. But this time, he didn't make it through. The 13th prince, who firmly believed that, my fate is determined by me, not by heaven, ultimately fell on the path of fighting against fate. Instead, Shantian came through time travel. An aspiring youth who kneels down to their parents and receives a good education in the 21st century. Water, I want water. Shantian lay in bed, feeling intense abdominal pain, extremely uncomfortable. Upon hearing the call, an old eunuch quickly brought tea to the bedside and helped Shantian up with concern. The water is here, Your Highness, please drink slowly. This old eunuch is Gue Gonggang, the general manager of Lanxin Palace, and currently the only eunuch on duty in Lanxin Palace. It can be said that the 13th prince Shantian was completely raised by him alone. After drinking some water, Shantian felt much more comfortable. His gaze fell on the old eunuch in front of him, and he suddenly froze. In the memory of the 13th prince, there is Duke Gue. I entered the palace from a young age and served in the palace for more than 50 years. I once received the life-saving kindness of Empress Lan, and therefore devoted myself wholeheartedly to the 13th prince. But in the memory of the 13th prince, Duke Gui did not have this circle on his head. Yes, in circles. At this moment, in Shantian's eyes, there was a green glowing circle on the top of Duke Gui's head. It looks a bit like the halo on an angel's head, but the color is not right. Am I dizzy? Shantian rubbed his eyes and found that the green halo above Guigong's head still existed. Obviously, this is not eye strain. Guibwa, could you help me bring a mirror over? Shantian seemed to have thought of something and quickly asked Duke Gui to bring a mirror. When the person in the mirror appeared in front of Shantian, he finally understood why the 13th prince was so unlucky. Handsome. Unparalleled handsome. Lan Fei was once the most beautiful woman in the Great Flame Country. As her heir, the 13th prince Shantian inherited the best genes and had already shown the embryonic form of a peerless beautiful man at the age of only 16. This face is so handsome that Shantian himself feels a lot of pressure. But that's not the point is that Shantian found a halo on his head similar to that of Duke Gui. However, his aura was not green, but black, emitting a thick black aura that kept surging. It seems to be filled with various misfortunes, which make people feel palpitated at first glance. Obviously, this thing is definitely not a good thing. Maybe it's the manifestation of bad luck. Is this the legendary Yin Tang turning black? Shantian lay back in bed, expressing his desire to be alone and quiet. The protagonist's halo is all over their heads as they pass by. That color is so cute, it's golden and shiny. What's on top of my head? It was gloomy, with a black aura that made it easy to be struck by lightning even when walking out against it. I'm afraid I'm not a fake protagonist. Wearing such an aura of misfortune on one's head, it is false to say that one is not panicked. Still cultivating immortals, experiencing, searching for treasures, crossing tribulations. Forget it. Shantian's current small physique could even choke to death if he accidentally eats. Guibwa, I'm tired. You should leave first. Shantian decided to temporarily rest and recuperate in bed. It is impossible to go out. Before fully recovering, only lying in bed with peace of mind can ensure life's safety. Okay, the old servant will go and decoct medicine for His Highness. Duke Gui was unaware that the person lying in bed at this moment was no longer the original 13th prince. He gently closed the door to prevent Shantian from getting cold air into his body, and then personally went to the kitchen to cook medicine. In the following month, Shantian behaved very well. He didn't practice secretly, didn't run around, and didn't even get out of bed once. Finally, under the careful care of Duke Guigong in front of and behind his bed, Shantian's body slowly recovered. It's been a month, a whole month. God knows how I came through this month. Finally, Shantian couldn't hold back. No phone, no computer, not even a slightly interesting novel. Lying in bed every day thinking about life. These days are so boring that they drive him crazy. Life is truly precious, and the price of freedom is even higher. My Highness is going out to wave. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The Little Eunuch with Red Luck. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The little eunuch at the head of Red Luck Shantian got up from the bed and said, Uncle Gui, I need to take a shower, change clothes, and go for a walk. All right, Your Highness, I'll go prepare now. Gui Gongdong was moved to tears, and after a month of lying in bed, His Highness also felt uncomfortable. In the past, every time the 13th prince went crazy, his emotions were very excited. As long as he recovers a little bit of vitality, he wants to get out of bed and search for other techniques to continue practicing. This time Shantian stayed peacefully in bed, and Duke Gui was very pleased at first. His Highness 13 has finally learned to cherish himself. Empress Lan knows that it's time for her to smile. But gradually, Duke Gui realized that things were not that simple. Your Highness is also too meticulous. Please rest well and don't wander around if you have nothing to do. I didn't let you eat, drink, and have sex on the bed, so I can't get out of bed for half a step. What's going on here? Are you in bed? For a whole month, Shen Tian suddenly became so steady, it was simply abnormal. If it weren't for Shen Tian finally getting ready to take a shower and go out, Gui Gong would have planned to invite the imperial physician to come. Check if your Highness has gone crazy and damaged his brain. Take a shower, change clothes, and freshen up. Wearing an embroidered white python robe, tying up a flying crane blue cloud bun, and then putting on golden sand cloud boots, Shen Tian was simply flipped over by the handsome man in the mirror. Extraordinary, elegant and unparalleled. If this looks were to be in the 21st century, it would definitely save 20 years of struggle. No, 200 years less effort. The only downside is that the thing above his head is still as black as ever. The reflection made his face turn black, like an African chieftain. We must find a solution as soon as possible to solve the problem of the black circle above our heads. Shen Tian secretly swore in his heart that even if he had a little green on his head, it would be better than not knowing which day he would hiccup. With countless thoughts in his heart, Shen Tian finally left the Orchid Heart Palace. It is worth mentioning that Shen Tian was walking in the palace, and no one dared to approach within 10 meters. Even those eunuchs and palace maids kept a distance in their hearts, as if afraid of being infected by the spirit of decay. That kind of gaze made Shen Tian very unhappy. I don't know how that unlucky guy came through these 16 years. Shen Tian secretly sympathized with the 13th prince in his heart, in addition to strong admiration. I just felt suffocated after being looked at like this for a while. And the 13th prince, however, has been so prejudiced by people for 16 years. As a result, not only did he not give up on himself, but he continued to fight against fate until his death. Meanwhile, there is no trend towards blackening. This guy's personality is just like that of Ruto. Walking in the palace all the way, Shen Tian was also observing the halos on the heads of other people. He found that the halo on the heads of the vast majority of eunuchs and palace maids was white, and the light was relatively dim. At first glance, it looks ordinary and doesn't seem like a person with great fortune. And those eunuchs and palace maids with slightly higher ranks will also shine slightly brighter in comparison. Occasionally encountering several eunuchs, such as the chief eunuchs of Shangshan, Shangyi, and Yuma, the halo above their heads is light green. Like the halo above Duke Gui's head, it emits a faint green light and is full of vitality. So black represents misfortune, ordinary people have a white halo on their heads, while lucky people have a green halo on their heads. Is the statement from the past life correct? If you want to live a decent life, you have to wear a little green on your head. Thinking of this, Shen Tian's mouth couldn't help but twitch slightly. This setting is really creepy. Suddenly, Shen Tian's gaze narrowed slightly. He discovered a special guy. That is an ordinary little eunuch. He was dressed in the lowest level of eunuch's clothing, looking pale and pitiful, with a frail expression on his face. But what made Shen Tian unbalanced was that the halo on the head of this little eunuch was not black, not white, nor green. The halo above his head is red, emitting a dazzling light like the sun, grand and atmospheric. In Shen Tian's eyes, this little eunuch was the absolute center of this world. In contrast, although Shen Tian has an unparalleled appearance and a graceful demeanor, his black circles above his head are inferior in appearance. A mere eunuch, the halo on his head is so pretentious. Is this a son of luck? Shen Tian stared straight at the little eunuch, making him feel dizzy. Although the eunuch has not been in the palace for a long time, he has also heard some rumors in the palace. The Highness of Lanxin Palace is the most handsome and unlucky existence in the entire Great Flame Kingdom. If you have nothing to do, please stay away from him. Otherwise, there may be life-threatening consequences. I have met your highness. Thinking of this, the eunuch hurriedly bowed and thought of running away immediately after finishing the ceremony. However, what he didn't expect was that Shen Tian didn't let him leave. You, come here for a moment. Upon hearing Shen Tian's cry, the eunuch's legs trembled with fear. Your Highness 13, let me go over. Don't do it. I am just an ordinary eunuch, how can I provoke this evil star? I heard that within 10 meters of His Highness, one will be infected with his mold. And then being excluded and isolated by everyone around you can even be life-threatening. If we get too close, wouldn't we be dead set? But if I don't listen to your Highness, I feel like I'll die faster. The thought of getting close may lead to death, but not getting close will definitely lead to death. This little eunuch, who is in the midst of good luck, is so scared that she wants to cry. End of this chapter. Is it because my face is too dark in chapter 3? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it because my face is too dark in chapter 3? Why, is it not effective for His Highness to speak? Shen Tian sighed and his tone intensified by 3 points. I am here. The young eunuch suddenly shuddered and quickly knelt down in front of Shen Tian, his head trembling on the ground. After all, even if Shen Tian is no longer valued by Emperor Yan, he is still the 13th prince of Zhenjing Miaohong. Ignoring hierarchy in disobedience is a capital offense in the palace. Shen Tian nodded satisfactorily and said, What's your name? The eunuch answered honestly, My servant's name is Qin Gao. Your Highness can call me Xiao Gaozi. Qin Gao. This is indeed like the name of a powerful eunuch. Shen Tian thought for a moment and said, Please lift your head and let my Highness take a look. The little eunuch's body trembled slightly, and a sense of fear surged in his heart. I heard that some important figures in the royal family are tired of playing with beautiful women and instead become interested in those beautiful-looking eunuchs, who like to do strange things. Is the 13th prince, possessed by the decay god, also such a person? Thinking of this, Qin Gaodun felt a chill on his spine. He looked up pale and met Shen Tian's gaze. Shen Tian looked very seriously, with a very serious expression, and even a hint of excitement. So Qin Gao's heart became even more anxious. Your Highness, is there anything wrong with this eunuch? Gue Gongdang's words interrupted Shen Tian's thoughts and made him come to his senses. Just now, he didn't fall for Qin Gao, but saw something else from Qin Gao, or rather from his halo. When he focused his attention on observing Qin Gao, he saw a picture projected from the red halo above his head. The place where the screen first appears is the entrance of the Imperial Study. Then the screen kept zooming in and entered the Imperial Study. Then, following the rows of bookshelves in the Imperial Study, I arrived at a remote corner in the southeast and landed on a book called De Yanli. The screen came to a sudden stop here, and it didn't look particularly special. But Shen Tian believed that there must be a big secret in the book called De Yanli. It may be related to the red halo above Qin Gao's head, and it may even be a great opportunity belonging to Qin Gao. If I seize the opportunity of this eunuch, will my luck be better? Shen Tian couldn't help but have a bold idea in his heart. He does not believe that it is difficult to accept the lack of opportunities for competition. After all, this is a world of cultivating immortals where the law of the jungle prevails, and people with soft hearts usually die tragically. Moreover, fate is secondary, and more importantly, if Shen Tian does not find a way to change his fortune as soon as possible, he will definitely die very miserably. It's okay, please step back. Shen Tian waved his hand to Qin Gao to leave, and then hurriedly rushed towards the Imperial Study. The Imperial Study of Dian Kingdom is located in the central area of the Imperial Palace, with a very rich collection of books. Of course, the advanced martial arts scriptures related to cultivation are all located in the core area of the Imperial Study and are guarded by highly skilled practitioners. Without the order of Emperor Yan, even a prince like Shen Tian cannot casually search. Fortunately, the Yanli that Shen Tian was looking for was not a cultivation technique, but an ordinary historical biography. Following the visual guidance he had seen in Qingyue's aura before, Shen Tian quickly found this book. This book is about 10 centimeters thick and looks very old, even covered in dust. In this vast sea of books, this book is not prominent. But Shen Tian knew that there were definitely secrets in this book. I have the book in hand. Let's first see if my luck has changed. Shen Tian took out a mirror from his arms and carefully examined it. Well, handsome is still the same handsome. Black is still the same black. Shen Tian couldn't help but be disappointed. Can you say that I haven't really grasped the opportunity yet, so my luck hasn't changed? I need to first decipher the secret of this book. With this in mind, Shen Tian finished registering and left the imperial study with the Yanli. In the next few days, Shen Tian returned to his ultimate state of death. Lying in bed, unable to leave the door. The only change was that Shen Tian began to repeatedly study the dry and uninteresting Yanli. This process drove Shen Tian crazy because he couldn't see anything special about this book. This is simply a boring history book with no illustrations, no highlights, and even the layout is squeezed together. Being left in the corner for decades without anyone looking at it is not unjustified at all. If it weren't for seeing this book in Qingyue's halo, Shen Tian wouldn't even touch it more. Is it because my face is too dark to discover the secret of this book? This is not scientific. Your Highness, you haven't gone out for 3 days. Looking at Shen Tian's haggard appearance, Duke Gui felt very distressed and said, "You've been flipping through this book several times. Why don't we go out for a walk?" Shen Tian shook his head and said, "If you don't find out the secret of this book, never go out." Shen Tian dare not put down this book and go for a walk. Otherwise, with his current bad luck, it is uncertain that the book will be gone when he returns. And this possibility is not ordinary. After 3 hours, Shen Tian pinched his nose and read the book, the Yanli, from beginning to end again. However, apart from feeling the content becoming more boring, there was no discovery. In the end, Shen Tian had to admit that perhaps his face was too dark. How about trying someone else? Guebua, come and take a look at this book. Shen Tian handed the Yanli to Duke Gui. I feel like there should be an organic connection in this book. Is there any organic connection in this book? Duke Guigong took over the Yanli and actually held a skeptical attitude in his heart. Although he absolutely respects and believes in His Highness the 13th Prince, Duke Gui has a clear understanding of His Highness's luck. If Your Highness borrows a book from the Imperial Study and comes back, he can discover some hidden great opportunity. Duke Gui doesn't think this probability is particularly high. Since Your Highness thinks there is a chance in this book, I will take a look at it. Although I don't believe there are any opportunities in this book. But based on his absolute obedience to His Highness, Duke Gui still mobilized his spiritual power and began to carefully examine this book. However, soon Guigong's face showed a surprised expression and he said, "Oh, there's really something in the book." Shen Tian's mouth twitched slightly, unsure whether he should be happy or upset. I tossed and turned for several days, but didn't find anything wrong. Guigong just checked for a few minutes and found a chance. Do you want it to be so real? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. To practice divine arts, swinging a knife from the palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. To practice divine arts, swinging a knife from the palace. Shen Tian sighed and said, "What is it?" Your Highness, don't worry, I'll give it a try. Guigong turned the book to the last page and tore off the hard paper cover at the end of the book. With a slight tremor of spiritual power, the hard paper shell cover actually separated from the middle, revealing a clear interlayer. A palm-sized piece of silk fell from the interlayer, wrapped in a thin piece of jade, emitting a faint luster. Sure enough, there's something here. This should be a jade slip for passing merit. Gue Gonggang did not read the contents of the silk and jade slips, but respectfully handed them to Shen Tian and said, "Your Highness, take a look." Shen Tian suppressed his excitement and ecstasy and spread the silk on the table. But in the upper left corner of this silk, 4 big characters were prominently written. Xiangri Magic Scripture. After these 4 large characters, there is a slightly smaller line of bright red eye-catching font. To practice divine skills, draw a sword from the palace. Seeing this, Shen Tian's mentality exploded. Damn it! Is that all? I have been looking forward to it for 3 days, holding on to this boring and explosive book and studying it for 3 days. So you just showed me this. Don't be angry, don't be angry. Shen Tian patted his chest and calmed his raging emotions, saying, "Maybe my luck has improved." He took out a mirror from his arms and looked into it with anticipation. Pop! The mirror fell to the ground, shattering into pieces. Guigong, who was standing beside him, quickly asked, "Your Highness, is there a problem with this secret script?" Shen Tian's face darkened and he said, "Uncle Gui, come and see for yourself." Gui Gonggang quickly shook his head and refused, "This is your Highness's chance." "How can I see it? It's not possible." Shen Tian's face turned even darker and he said, "This is not my chance, it's your chance." After speaking, Shen Tian pulled Guigong to the table. Xiangri Magic Classic. After reading the brief introduction of the techniques on the silk, Duke Gui showed a shocked expression on his face and said, Is this the magic technique created by the Sun Demon Lord who once roamed the eastern wilderness?" The Sun Demon Lord. Shen Tian asked, "Has Gui Bo heard of this person?" "I have read in an ancient book that the Sun Demon Lord was a peerless murderer 3,000 years ago." Guigong recalled seeing rumors about the Sun Demon Lord before. Xiangri Demon Lord was originally an ordinary eunuch in the imperial palace of Donghuang Dakuan Kingdom, with a low status and extremely poor cultivation skills. But this person had great fortune and surprisingly found the long-lost fragments of the Sun Emperor's classic in the imperial study. Because there are too many incomplete parts and the most important heart technique is missing, this fragment cannot be practiced normally. Ordinary people who practice forcibly will only breed endless desires and demons, leading to self-immolation and death. However, the Sun Demon Lord not only has great luck, but also great perseverance and great insight. He actually used himself to conduct experiments, integrating several magical techniques, and forcibly modified the Sun Emperor's classic. The modified technique was named Xiangri Magic Classic by him, which was 3 points less grand and magnificent, but 7 points more mysterious and unpredictable. Once this magic skill is used, not only does it attack at an extremely fast speed, but it can also stir up the desires and demons in the enemy's heart. So as to break through the enemy's Tao heart, find fatal flaws in the enemy's martial arts, and kill with one strike. It can be regarded as one of the most eerie evil deeds of the demonic world of that era. More importantly, this cultivation method has extremely low requirements for root and bone qualifications, and the cultivation speed is extremely fast. The Sun Demon Lord, with extremely poor roots and bones, relied on this magic skill to cultivate to the level of Yuanying in just 50 years. And of the same rank, he is respected and rarely meets an enemy. Note that 50 years may seem like a long time, but for cultivators, it really shouldn't be too short. Even if one can break the pill and become a baby within 50 years by practicing the complete version of the Sun Emperor Sutra, it can still be considered a rare genius in the cultivation world. Not to mention the fundamental aptitude of the Sun Demon Lord, it is still astonishingly lacking. From this, it can be seen that this martial arts can be called unparalleled magic skills. Your Highness, this is an amazing inheritance. Although it is not an imperial scripture, for people with ordinary qualifications, this skill is even more precious than the imperial scripture. Surprisingly, one can find this kind of unparalleled magic skill from an ordinary ancient book. Your Highness, you have finally made a fortune. If Lady Lan knows anything from the underworld, she will definitely have a smile on her face. Guigong touched the silk, trembling with excitement. You should know that the Sun Demon Lord is a legend in the eunuch world. And, the Sun Demon Classic is a peerless skill that every eunuch dreams of. To put it bluntly, with the magic scripture in hand, I won't even exchange it for the imperial scriptures. Listening to Guigong boasting about how amazing this Xiangri magic classic was, Shen Tian's heart became increasingly uncomfortable. This amazing skill, my highness cannot practice it. My mother has a smile on her face. God, I have a good luck. This damn non-chieftain physique hasn't improved at all. Since it's so precious, Uncle Gui should keep it well and work hard to cultivate it. Although he cannot practice on his own, Duke Gui is loyal to him and his practice is the same. Thinking of this, Shen Tian felt a little more comfortable in his heart. Duke Gui was stunned when he heard that Shen Tian had given him such a precious cultivation technique. He instinctively shook his head and said, "How can this be? This is His Highness's chance, how can we give it to the old servant? How can the old servant, Hida, be worthy of practicing such peerless martial arts?" Shen Tian rolled his eyes and said, "If you don't practice, should I?" After thinking for a moment, Duke Guigong suddenly realized that sorrow had arisen. "It seems like this truth, Your Highness, he cannot practice it. Your Highness is too pitiful." He finally encountered a great opportunity that he couldn't use. "Oh my goodness, how unfair you are to Your Highness. Since Your Highness cannot practice, let the old servant practice for him." Holding this light silk, Duke Gui felt as heavy as Mount Taishan, and his eyes filled with tears. This is His Royal Highness the 13th Prince's trust and expectation towards the old slave. 20 years ago, the old slave was falsely accused of stealing palace treasures. It was Lady Lan who saved the old slave's life. Although I haven't read many books, I still understand how to repay kindness. Empress Lan is still alive, and my life belongs to her. When Empress Lan passes away, my life belongs to His Highness. His Highness bestowed upon the old slave the Sun Demon scripture, and the old slave must diligently practice day and night, never daring to neglect it. The old slave swears to heaven that as long as there is still one breath left in the future, he will protect His Highness with his life. For cultivators, there is a causal cycle between heaven and earth. Vows should never be spoken recklessly, especially when swearing to the heavens, as the heavenly way can truly resonate. According to authoritative investigations, those demons who swear recklessly end up dying miserably. Guigong received great kindness from Empress Lan and Shen Tian, and swore to protect Shen Tian with his life, which is truly heartfelt. This also made Shen Tian more convinced that he had not trusted the wrong person. "Hey, although I got the Sun Demon Classic, I'm still a bad guy." Shen Tian sighed and said he didn't appreciate the forest. "By the way, I snatched the opportunity that should have belonged to Qingyue. What about Qingyue?" Suddenly, he remembered the thin and weak eunuch Qingyue. Qingyue is the person with the strongest fortune among all the people he has seen so far, and he is also the original owner of the Sun Demon Classic. What will happen to Qingyue now that Shen Tian has obtained the Sun Demon Classic? Will new opportunities arise, or will other changes occur? To be honest, Shen Tian is very curious. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Almost received box lunch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Almost received box lunch. Thinking of this, Shen Tian decided to go find Qingyue. It's not easy to find someone in the vast palace. But if you are familiar with the consul eunuch of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, all of this is not a problem. Coincidentally, Shen Tian is not familiar with the Ministry of Internal Affairs. However, this is not important because no one dares to provoke Shen Tian in the entire palace. After learning about Shen Tian's purpose, the eunuch quickly retrieved all the eunuch's duty schedules in just a few minutes and told Shen Tian about the whereabouts of Qingyue. Then, like sending the god of wealth, respectfully sent Shen Tian out of the Internal Affairs office. There's no way, he's afraid that the Ministry of Internal Affairs will collapse like the Imperial Academy. It is worth mentioning that Qingyue is a person from the uterus of the 6 emperors. And these 6 princes, Shen Ao, are the most talented among many princes in cultivating immortality. At the age of only 18, he had already reached the 9 heavens of Qi refining and was about to build the foundation of the immortal way. He was a genius once in a century in the Great Flame Kingdom. It is said that he has been favored by a venerable elder in Taibai Cave and has been adopted as a disciple through personal transmission. It should be noted that the cultivation sects in Donghuang are divided into 36 cave heavens and 72 blessed places, and even Taibai Cave heavens are among the top 10 in the cave heavens. Being noticed by the venerable of Taibai Cave is a great opportunity. If nothing unexpected happens, Shen Ao will achieve the lowest level of success in the future as a real person in the Golden Elixir period. If you have good luck and encounter a great opportunity, there is even a glimmer of hope that you can break the pill and become a baby, becoming a revered deity by the age of 500. By then, even the position of the Flame Emperor would be nothing. After all, the weakest immortal master has a lifespan of over 1,000 years, with mountains and earth shattering and burning the sky and boiling the sea as he waves his hand. In contrast, the secular imperial power is simply too fragile. It is precisely because of this that Shen Ao's position in the imperial palace of Dian Kingdom is very transcendent. Even if Emperor Yen favored him, there would be no other princes jealous or calculating, because it was unnecessary. Shen Ao is destined to embark on the long path of cultivating immortality and spend his whole life asking about immortality. The competition for the throne is not at all upscale for him. I don't know what the aura of luck on Brother Six's head looks like. Following the path of the Imperial Garden, Shen Tian quickly arrived near the palace of the 6th prince. At this moment, waves of screams echoed into Shen Tian's ears, accompanied by merciless scolding. Blind your dog's eyes, damn servant. Do you know how precious that pot of 9-leaf immortal Ganoderma grass is? Even if you have 9 lives, it cannot compare to a single beard. Everyone else has given me good looks. If anyone is not careful while working next time, they will be a role model. Shen Tian walked in the direction of the sound, only to see a group of people gathered around a well in the Imperial Garden. In the center of this group of people stands a cross, with a small eunuch bound to it. Who else can it be if it's not Qingyue? It is worth mentioning that at this moment, the halo above Qingyue's head changed. Although still red, the light is much dimmer than before, and even faint green light appears in some areas. The mottled colors look very dull. Isn't Qingyue an atmospheric transporter? Will he also encounter disasters? Watching Qingyue being whipped, Shen Tian was slightly stunned. That's right. Thinking about the novels I have read in my past life, it seems that the protagonist's growth history is not entirely smooth sailing. Sometimes, they also encounter disasters, and then they will not die in the face of them, but instead fight back. Wait. Never die in a disaster, kill your enemy instead. Shen Tian suddenly felt a tingling scalp. Who is Qingyue's enemy? Is it hitting his eunuch in charge, or the mastermind behind him, Shen Ao, or rather is it the entire royal family of the Great Flame Kingdom? Shen Tianke still remembers how the Sun Demon Lord, as mentioned by Duke Gui, dealt with the Great Kun Kingdom in the end. Because he was bullied and abused by a certain master in the kingdom of Dakuan, the Demon Lord, after achieving his position, massacred the entire royal family of Dakuan. On that day, the crimson blood sunflowers bloomed throughout the entire imperial palace of the Great Kun Kingdom. Corpses are scattered everywhere, blood flows into a river. Shen Ao, you're killing yourself. Shen Tian's mouth twitched and he calculated. If I hadn't intercepted Qingyue in advance, what would be the plot development next? Qingyue was dealt a fierce blow and narrowly escaped death for some reason. Then, by chance, he found the book, De Yanli, in the imperial study and discovered the Xiang Ri Mo Dian inside. Qin Gao, who harbored hatred, fled from the palace and began to cultivate his magic skills. After completing his cultivation, Qin Gao Jun went to the imperial palace of Dian Kingdom to kill Shen Ao, and even slaughtered everyone in the palace. And the unlucky Shen Tian with a black circle on his head will almost 100% be affected by the pond fish and then receive a boxed meal. The mortality rate is as high as 9.999%. As for whether Qin Gao will seek revenge after obtaining divine skills, there is no doubt about this. He would have done his name wrong if he didn't seek revenge. I'm so promiscuous that I almost got tricked to death. Shen Ao, are you a pig teammate? Thinking of this, Shen Tian couldn't help but curse all 18 generations of Shen Ao's ancestors. The cultivation genius is amazing. It's amazing to be taken as an apprentice by the elder of Taibai Cave. Those who dare to provoke atmospheric luck will be defeated by your sect. Even if you die, don't bring your brothers, okay? What should we do now? Watching Qin Gao tied to the cross, Shen Tian felt a bit flustered. How about treating it as not seeing it and turning around and leaving? Unreliable, cause and effect have already been ingrained, it's not so easy to avoid. Or wait to see them finish fighting Qin Gao, and if they don't die, go up and repair the knife yourself. It's not reliable either. If it's so easy to die, would it still be called an atmospheric carrier? Especially Shen Tian himself, he is still a moldy lump with a black halo. He seriously suspected that if he took action to kill Qin Gao, a peerless expert would jump out of some corner and save Qin Gao. A little further decline, that peerless master has set his sights on Qin Gao and wants to take him as his disciple. In order to vent Qin Gao's anger, everyone present was killed and silenced. Although the probability of such a thing happening is infinitely close to zero. But I can't stand the European emperor. Shen Tian is not a chieftain. Probability is a joke in front of the European emperor and non-emirates. Forget it, let's save him first before we talk. After some thought, Shen Tian decided to save Qin Gao and form a good relationship. If we don't wait any longer, Qin Gao will have other opportunities. If developed cows force him back to seek revenge, they will also let him go. I should know. Thinking of this, Shen Tian walked towards the crowd and shouted, "Stop!" Shen Tian shouted loudly, and the eunuchs and palace maids quickly retreated. After bowing one by one, they all hurriedly ran away, as if afraid of Shen Tian's punishment. Only the eunuch who assaulted someone, because he had a life with him, couldn't leave either. As Shen Tian approached step by step, his expression was filled with shock, fear, and embarrassment. Thieves are amazing. Your Highness, are you doing anything? Shen Tian pointed to Qin Gao, who was tied to the cross, and calmly said, "Today, I want to take him away." The eunuch looked embarrassed and said, "He broke His Highness the 6th Prince's 9-leaf Immortal Zakao, which is a capital offense. His 13th Highness, please do not make things difficult for me." Shen Tian was stunned for a moment. The 9-leaf Immortal Ganoderma grass is one of the main medicinal herbs used to refine high-quality building pills, and its value is indeed very high. For cultivators, the life of a mere eunuch is not as valuable as the 9-leaf Immortal Zakao. I see, then I'll personally go find Brother Six to plead for mercy. It's been a long time since I last saw Brother Six, I wonder I miss him. As soon as Shen Tian finished speaking, he heard a faint voice from the depths of the palace, majestic and solemn. "No need, since Brother 13 is pleading, let's take him away. Let's skip the meeting. Brother is currently in seclusion and cannot be disturbed. Xiaoli, see off the guests." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Your Highness, I really can't do it. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Your Highness, I really can't do it. Shen Ao's voice sounds very young, but it is filled with a lofty aura. In the world of cultivation, geniuses are inherently superior. However, Shen Tian didn't expect that he would be so easy to talk about this time when he was pulling on his cool and explosive sixth brother. According to the usual routine in novels, Shen Ao shouldn't have jumped out to stop Shen Tian from saving people at this time. Then Shen Tian fought fiercely with Shen Ao, and was it difficult to save Qin Gao? Or it could be the same as in some anime. Shen Tianyi had a serious argument with Shen Ao, using his mouth to make him understand that he was not right to bully others, and then he felt guilty and let them go. Why hasn't Shen Ao seen her face yet? She has already softened. This is not scientific. According to the reviews of other people in the palace, the sixth prince is not such a talkative master. That sixth brother, look at how badly this eunuch was beaten, he won't die, will he? Why don't you give me some healing elixir, brother 6? Shen Tian looked at Qin Gao and couldn't help but feel secretly scared. Looking at the scars on this body, at least 70 or 80 lashes have been inflicted, and some parts even have bones pulled out, making it painful to look at. How much hatred this will bring. The eunuch beside him heard Shen Tian requesting medicine and instinctively said, "Your Highness 6 healing elixir is extremely precious. How can it be used on this lowly servant?" Shen Tian pursed his lips and said, "Oh, I don't know what's good or bad. Your Highness, is this helping your master alleviate the disaster and difficulties? Send some healing medicine to eliminate cause and effect, and in the future, they may just whip you 180 times to vent their frustrations. If you don't deliver it, this guy will be super powerful against the wind in the future, and his ashes will be raised for you." The sixth prince deep in the palace seemed to have no idea that Shen Tian was willing to ask for the healing elixir. After a moment of silence, he spoke up, "Anyway. A jade bottle shot out from the depths of the palace and was delivered to Shen Tian's hand. This jade bottle is made of top-grade cold jade, warm and delicate, and contains more than 10 vermilion red pills inside. The bottle has not yet been opened, and a faint medicinal fragrance has already overflowed, refreshing the heart and soul. Obviously, it is a top-quality medicine. This is the healing elixir spring revival pill, take it. Little Li, see off the guests." Little Li beside her widened her eyes and looked incredulous. Others don't understand how precious the spring revival pill is, but they do. This Huichun powder is made by collecting precious medicinal materials such as ginseng and lingji from deep mountains for 100 years, and refining them with spiritual fire for 7,749 days under the urging of His Highness the Sixth Prince. Even if an ordinary person suffers a serious injury, they can recover in a moment by taking one pill. In the secular world, even 1,000 taels of gold are difficult to buy. As a result, His Highness 13 spoke up, and His Highness the Sixth Prince actually sent a bottle directly out. When did the relationship between the two Your Highnesses become so good? Little Lizzie, full of doubts, bid farewell to Shen Tian and others before returning to the courtyard and arriving at a palace. The palace gate was tightly closed, and little Lizzie stood at the entrance, looking conflicted. After a while, he couldn't help but say, "Your Highness, I have a question. I don't know if it's appropriate to ask." In the hall, Shen Ao's faint voice rang out again. "Ask." Xiao Lizzie said, "Qin Gao, that servant committed a capital crime. His Highness easily let him go and even gave him spiritual medicine for treatment." "I don't understand." Shen Ao calmly said, "On the path of cultivating immortality, everyone has a hidden aura, both mysterious and mysterious. My Highness is in sight of building a foundation. Once successful, I can worship the heavenly white cave, and from then on, the immortal road will be boundless and open. Brother 13 has a special destiny, so it is not appropriate to have any disputes with him at this critical time. Simply put, Shen Tian is too unlucky. Shen Ao is currently at a critical moment of breakthrough, afraid of getting infected too close and becoming obsessed like him." Xiao Lizzie asked again, "But if this is spread, I'm afraid it will damage the dignity of Your Highness." Qingyue smiled and said, compared to the long immortal road, secular disputes and the majesty of the imperial road are just fleeting clouds. Why bother? Xiao Lizi bowed and said, Your Highness has a lofty realm. I admire you so much that I can't help but admire you. I understand. Qingyue nodded and said, Since you have understood, then step back. Go back and take a bath. Don't approach this place again before my Highness leaves the pass. Shen Tian was unaware of everything that happened in the uterus of the sixth emperor at this time. He is currently struggling with how to place Qingyue himself. Take it and serve yourself. Not appropriate, generally speaking, people who bring their own protagonist aura also bring their own hatred aura. I didn't see the protagonist's master, sect, lover, or anything like that. They were all injured, fallen, and destroyed one by one. What kind of protagonist template is someone who does not conquer his father, his mother, his master, and his family? Shen Tian felt that his current unlucky fate could not withstand the turmoil of a son of luck. It's strange not to be killed. Just let him go like this, don't listen, don't ask. It's not appropriate, this guy was beaten so hard by Qingyue's eunuch. There may be some trouble in the future. And as the only atmospheric transporter that Shen Tian has seen so far, Qingyue has high research value for Shen Tian. After all, apart from Qingyue, Shen Tian had never seen any other person with a chance manifestation on their head. Just let him go like this. Where can Shen Tian find a way to improve his luck? At the same time, Qingyue took one of the spring revival pills and his injuries had recovered to a great extent. Qingyue was filled with gratitude for Shen Tian, the 13th prince who saved him at a critical moment of life and death. But it has to be said that Shen Tian's direct gaze at Qingyue now has made Qingyue feel anxious again. Is it true that His Royal Highness the 13th prince is that kind of person? Qingyue is a person who knows how to repay kindness. His Royal Highness has saved his life, and that is his great benefactor. Even if he serves His Royal Highness for a lifetime, goes through fire and water for His Royal Highness, or even dies, Qingyue would never say a word of no. But that kind of thing, Qingyue really can't do it. Although His Highness 13 is truly handsome and extraordinary, he is like a madman with countless young girls. But Qingyue is not a girl, he is a young man. And he is a straight man who would rather bend than bend. He would never agree to do such a thing. But if your Highness wants to use strength, what should I do? It has to be said that Qingyue is conflicted. He hesitated for a moment before asking, Your Highness, why did you save me? Upon hearing Qingyue's question, Shen Tian came to his senses and said, Why did he save you? Well, because you and I are destined. His Highness said, Is he destined to be with me? Shen Tian's words made Qingyue's expression suddenly become very strange. Your Highness, are you joking? Who's joking with you? Shen Tian waved his hand. From now on, you can stay in the Orchid Heart Palace. You don't have to work, just stay obedient and let me find you anytime. After some thought, Shen Tian decided to leave Qingyue behind for later observation. As for the issue of mutual restraint of luck, if Qingyue is not allowed to work, he is naturally not a servant. In this way, you shouldn't be killed by the protagonist's halo. Shen Tian thought it was very simple, but Qingyue didn't think so. No need to work, stay obedient and make sure your Highness can find it at any time. This is not the treatment of a eunuch. Qingyue is about to cry. Did he just come out of the tiger's den and enter the wolf's den again? Your Highness, I am a servant, I really can't do it. P.S. The author hopes that readers can comment and support more, collect more recommendations, and roast and criticize more. If you can give some rewards, you will be very grateful. In addition, this book solicits characters. Interested readers can leave comments in the book review section, and the author will choose to adopt them. End of this chapter. 7. Chapter 7 Methods to Improve Qi Transport. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 7 Methods to Improve Qi Transport. Shen Tian was unaware of Qingyue's rich psychological activities. After thinking for a moment, he added, also, Guebo, come back and copy a copy of the Qi refining section of the Sun Demon Classic, for Xiao Gao to practice. Okay, Your Highness. Gong has no objection, as in his view, the Xiangri magic scripture is already His Highness's property. He only practiced the Sun Demon scripture to become stronger and better protect His Highness. Since Your Highness is willing to cultivate his martial arts for Qingyue, he naturally will not question His Highness. Also, go to the yard and prepare a room for Xiao Gao. After Shen Tian finished speaking, he was ready to turn around and leave. In his view, the Xiangri magic scripture was originally Qingyue's opportunity, and even if he didn't give it himself, Qingyue would encounter other opportunities in the future. Instead of that, it's better to send the Buddha to the west and be a smooth-sailing person. In this way, Qingyue rose to prominence, and he also had many amazing friends who could take care of each other. Shen Tian thought very simply, but just as he finished speaking this sentence, something magical has happened. Shen Tian felt like his whole body was instantly lifted, as if he had freed himself from the invisible shackles. This feeling is mysterious, but it is also very real. He seemed to have thought of something and quickly turned his head to look at Qingyue. But the halo above Qingyue's head changed, and all the previously mixed green lights disappeared, completely transforming into a brilliant red. It's exactly the same as when we first met. Shen Tian took out the mirror from his pocket and carefully looked at the halo above his head. Although it is still black, the black air on it has become much lighter, and it doesn't look so weak anymore. Is it because I returned the opportunity to Qingyue, or rather because I shared it with Qingyue? Shen Tian thought for a moment and decided to verify it. He stared at the halo on Qingyue's head and suddenly said, forget Guebo, let's not pass on the sun magic scripture. As soon as he finished speaking, he felt a slight heaviness all over. The halo above Qingyue's head also became dim again, giving rise to a little green light. Guebo nodded and said, okay, Your Highness. Although I don't understand why His Highness has changed his mind, all the decisions he has made must be right. Guigong will never question it. After the color of the halo stabilized, Shen Tian said again, I've thought about it for a while, let's pass it on. As soon as he finished speaking, the halo above Qingyue's head became dazzling again, and the green light swept away. Suddenly, Shen Tian was extremely excited. His judgment is correct. Sure enough. Okay, Your Highness. On the other hand, Guebo felt somewhat helpless. Although slandering Your Highness may be a bit wrong, Your Highness is teasing other eunuchs like this. Is it really suitable? At this moment, Qingyue weakly said, how about not passing on the teachings? To be honest, Qingyue is a bit afraid. His Royal Highness the 13th Prince treated him extremely well. He not only saved him and allowed him to live in the Orchid Heart Palace, but also refused to let him work. Now, I have to teach myself something called the Sun Demon Scripture. Qingyue didn't know what the Xiangri magic scripture was, but it was definitely not an ordinary commodity that even the 13th Prince felt hesitant and reluctant to part with. Maybe it's some priceless and breathtaking inheritance. He already owes His Highness too much. If he wants to accept this Xiangri magic scripture again, how should he repay it? No way to repay it. As Qingyue spoke, the halo above his head changed back to a mottled red and green appearance. Shen Tian was no longer willing, he finally found a way to improve his luck. How can Qingyue be allowed to sabotage his fundamental plan? How unreasonable. Spread, it must be spread. Shen Tian firmly said, not only will I pass on your Qi refining chapter, but I will also pass on the following building foundation chapter, Golden Elixir chapter, and Yuaning chapter to you, Your Highness. Your Highness, I am a servant. Your life was saved by my Highness. Don't refuse, otherwise I will kill you. After Shen Tian finished speaking arrogantly, the halo above Qin Gao's head suddenly burst out with an unprecedented intensity. Not only did the noise fade away, but it also became more dazzling than before. At the edge of the halo, even a faint golden light appeared, making it look even more prestigious. At the same time, Shen Tian was shocked to find that the halo above Guigong's head had also changed. From the original light green, it quickly turned into deep green. Green light is flourishing, green is full of vitality, green is intoxicating. And a faint red light emanated from the edges, just like Qin Gao's halo. Halo upgrade. Is this the correct way to enhance Qi luck? Sharing opportunities with atmospheric practitioners can improve their luck, so can my luck, and even Guibua's luck. Shen Tian quickly took out the mirror and found that the color of the halo on his head had become much lighter. Although it still looks dark overall, it is much better than before. At least he won't give Shen Tian the feeling of being struck to death by lightning when he goes out. After working hard for so many days, I finally found hope to survive. For a moment, Shen Tian was moved to tears. On the other hand, Qin Gao saw Shen Tian with tears in his eyes and immediately panicked. Your Highness, don't cry. I'll practice, but I can't do it yet. Your Highness, the 13th prince, is the body of 1,000 gold. How can I become a man who makes your Highness cry? Isn't it just a magic book that I don't know what it is? Your Highness has saved my life. I am not afraid to die for your Highness, but I am afraid of practicing any martial arts. For a moment, Qin Gao had a strong sense of ambition and ambition to die for his confidants. Well, that's pretty much the same. Also, I didn't cry, it's excitement, excitement. Shen Tian rolled his eyes and said, Guibua, take him down. Guibua nodded, yes, your Highness is excited, excited, and not crying. I will take him down to settle down and then teach him the martial arts. Watching Gui Gonggang and Qin Gao leave, Shen Tian wiped away his tears and began to think about the next path. Practice is impossible, and Shen Tian will never touch any cultivation techniques until the halo turns completely white. After all, the tragic experiences of our predecessors are still vividly remembered. Now Shen Tian has found a preliminary way to improve his luck, and his next goal is to follow the routine and seize the opportunities of a few atmospheric runners. In this way, I believe he should soon be able to wash his hands and become an ordinary person again. Where can I find an atmospheric carrier? Shen Tian began to ponder. In theory, atmospheric transporters are generally people who come from above. In the imperial palace of the Great Flame Kingdom, those in high positions generally have higher luck. For example, the 6th Prince Shen Ao has an amazing talent for cultivating immortals, and half of his foot has already been worshipped in the Taibai cave, so his luck is not bad at first glance. Shen Tian can almost be certain that Shen Ao's aura should be at least green with red light. It could even be a red ring with green light. If we could stare at Shen Ao for a long time and share it together when his opportunity arises. Shen Tian believes that his luck can definitely soar. But the problem is, Shen Ao doesn't seem to like him. Or to put it another way, in the imperial palace of the Great Flame Kingdom, none of the high-ranking officials with high energy seem to welcome Shen Tian. Those people are not as obedient as these little eunuchs, they can completely avoid Shen Tian. I can't even see each other, and I still want to stare at them to seize the opportunity. How could this be possible? It seems like we've entered a dead end, it's hard to handle. Where to find someone who has great luck and is also willing to approach oneself? For a moment, Shen Tian fell into contemplation. End of this chapter. Did my abilities fail in Chapter 8? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did my abilities fail in Chapter 8? Wanlingyuan, this is the largest spiritual mineral trading market in Dian country. Its influence covers multiple kingdoms around it, with crouching tigers and hidden dragons in the park, which is also the destination for Shen Tian and his companions to go out of the palace for their training. 3 days ago, Shen Tian discovered that the way to improve his qi luck was to form a good relationship with atmospheric fortune tellers. Therefore, he decided to search for a large number of atmospheric transporters and find ways to seize the opportunity. However, after 3 days of trying, Shen Tian had to admit that there were really not many people waiting to see him in the entire imperial palace of Dian Kingdom. Whether it's Consort Shu, Consort Hua, Consort De, or 7th Prince, 8th Prince, 9th Princess, every time Shen Tian wants to visit them, these people are always feeling unwell, out of the palace, and inconvenient to meet. This couldn't help but make Shen Tian very frustrated. But another discovery raised new hope in Shen Tian's heart. That is, not only atmospheric athletes will encounter opportunities. People with green or even white luck have the opportunity to encounter opportunities. It's just a small probability and low value. Yesterday, Shen Tian saw a halo of luck on a small palace made with white luck. The screen shows that the little palace maid named Xia he will find a night pearl worth thousands of taels of silver in the imperial garden. So Shen Tian picked up the bead in advance and gave it to the palace maid. Sure enough, the halo above the palace maid's head also became stronger, and even a faint green light appeared. And the black aura above Shen Tian's head also decreased slightly once again. This discovery made Shen Tian very excited, even pushing away the palace maid's embrace. Pulling up Duke Gue and Qin Gao, they clamored to leave the palace. Since it has been discovered, ordinary people also have the opportunity to encounter opportunities. Shen Tian must have chosen to go to the place with the most frequent chance to improve his luck. And Wanling Garden is a place full of infinite possibilities and opportunities. As is well known, in the realm of cultivation, the most important thing is the Dharma wealth couple land. And among them, wealth refers to cultivation resources, among which spirit stones are the most important. The spirit stone contains abundant spiritual energy and is a consumable material used by cultivators for cultivation, which can greatly improve their cultivation speed. With the same talent and technique, people with spirit stones and those without spirit stones can have a cultivation speed difference of more than 10 times. Therefore, for the vast majority of cultivators, spirit stones are the material they pursue throughout their lives. Lingshire mine is a vein that can produce lingshire. The cultivator excavates spiritual minerals from the veins, cuts out rough embryos of spiritual stones, and then processes them to form standard-sized spiritual stones. But not every spiritual ore can be cut into spiritual stones. Some spiritual minerals may appear to have an overflow of spiritual energy, but after being cut open, it is discovered that there are some fragments of spiritual stones inside, which have extremely low value. Some spiritual minerals may not look impressive, but after being cut open, they become medium or even top-grade spiritual stones, which are priceless. Even legend has it that in some cultivation sects, there are people who cut out top-notch treasures, extraordinary scriptures, and even sleeping peerless heavenly maidens from spiritual ores. This is not impossible. Because in the realm of cultivating immortals, there has always been a saying that treasures obscure themselves. Those powerful treasures and scriptures contain the laws of the Tao and can move the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. If left unattended for a long time, these magical scriptures will spontaneously absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, forming a protective layer of spiritual energy on the surface of the body. If these spiritual protective layers are experienced for a long time, they will transform into spiritual minerals. It looks no different from ordinary spirit minerals, but if someone is lucky enough to cut it open, it is possible to obtain intact and powerful magic weapons, even peerless martial arts. For tens of thousands of years, there have been many lucky people who have risen strongly due to this opportunity. It is precisely for this reason that the spirit mining trading market like Wanlingyuan has emerged. Merchants in Wanling Garden will purchase spirit minerals from various places and place them on shelves, marking different prices based on their quality. If the customer thinks the price is suitable, they will buy the spirit ore and cut it themselves or have the shop owner cut it. But regardless of whether the cut-out items are for profit or loss, customers and shop owners must buy and leave, and they must not back out. Its rules are somewhat similar to the gambling stones that Shintian has seen in his previous life. After learning that ordinary people may also encounter opportunities, the first thing that came to Shintian's mind was this place. There may not be many atmospheric operators in this place, but the frequency of opportunities occurring is definitely the highest. Because the entire Wanling Garden has tens of thousands of people every day, all of them come to try their luck. With such a huge base, even if 1 in 10 people can make a profit, there should be opportunities everywhere. In this way, Shintian can not only quickly remove the black circle above his head. Even the spirit stones that the 3 of them will use to cultivate immortality in the future don't have to worry. Thinking of this, Shintian felt like a genius. However, when Shintian truly arrived at the Wanling Garden, he found himself overthinking. The water in this gambling quarry is not as deep as usual. Although the vast Wanling Garden was filled with people everywhere, Shintian glanced over and saw very few images of chance appearing on his head. Moreover, from the perspective of the screen, even if those people cut out spirit stones, most of them are not of high quality. Basically, they spend more than 10 spirit stones to buy, and then cut them out to sell 3 to 5 to 10 spirit stones. Although even the most ordinary lower-grade spirit stones in the cultivation world can sell for 1,000 taels of silver or even higher in the secular world. If you can earn 10 spirit stones, that's 10,000 taels of silver, which is enough for an ordinary person to be elegant for a lifetime. But this small opportunity simply cannot meet Shintian's original expectations. In the agreed-upon Wanling Garden, there is an explosion of popularity every day. Spend a few spirit stones to cut out amazing goods and reach the pinnacle of life. It's all nonsense, isn't it? Just as Shintian was doubting life, a sudden cry of surprise came from the east. Xilinxian is here. As the sound sounded, there was a sudden surge of movement in the crowd. What, Xilinxian is going to mine again? Brother, grab a good spot for me. Wait for me, I'll cut this piece of mine and go over immediately. Who is Xilinxian? Little spirit immortal, you don't even know, you're too ignorant. She's the most amazing spiritual pulse master in our searching for spiritual broken minds in Wanling Garden. Not only that, but also a stunning beauty. If anyone marries a little spirit immortal, they will become prosperous. Not only will they have a beautiful woman in their arms, but they won't have to worry about spirit stones for a lifetime. Listening to the discussions around him, Shintian couldn't help but feel a hint of curiosity about this so-called little spirit fairy. He walked along the crowd and soon saw a real person in front of a spiritual mining workshop called Tianlingshuan. That is a girl wearing a blue long dress, although she can't see her appearance clearly because her back is facing Shintian. But just the tender jade hands and slender waist like willow branches are enough to arouse endless imagination and make people daydream. It's not difficult to imagine that this woman's frontal view is absolutely stunning, stunning and stunning. However, at this moment, what Shintian was concerned about was not the woman's figure and appearance, but the halo above her head. This woman named Xilinxian has good luck, and the color of her halo on her head is pure red. Although mixed with a few faint green lights, the quality of Qingyue's aura is close to that of many imperial relatives and nobles. However, to Shintian's surprise, there was no chance seen above her head. This couldn't help but make Shintian very confused. In theory, if there is an organic connection, it will definitely be displayed above the head. Can't Xilinxian even open a good mine in the next time? Or is it that my abilities have failed on her? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. A little spirit immortal who loves the country and the city. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Qingyue Qingqing Xilinxian Shintian stared at Xilinxian, wanting to see what was special about this girl. Your Highness, are you interested in her? Guigong suggested, why don't you take her back to the palace? If Lady Lan knew that His Highness had accepted her, she would definitely have smiled brightly. Qingyue also nodded and said, "Yes, this little spirit fairy girl is so beautiful that she looks perfect for your highness." Seeing Shen Tian's focused expression, Qingyue quickly suggested. At this time, Qingyue had already started practicing the Sun Demon Classic and his progress was rapid. After being exposed to the cultivation system, Qingyue became even more aware of how terrifying and precious this magical skill is. But at the same time, he also became increasingly anxious. His Highness first saved his life and then taught him such a peerless immortal scripture. His kindness is too great to be repaid. If your Highness asks me to commit to you, what should I do? Therefore, Qingyue was extremely hopeful that Shen Tian could shift his attention to Xiao, which would be good for everyone. Of course, Shen Tian did not know what Qingyue was thinking. If you know, you must exterminate him. Whether he is the son of luck or not. At this moment, the entrance of Linglong was already crowded with people. Shen Tian and his companions struggled to squeeze through the crowd, but in the end, they managed to grab a good spot and see the true face of the little spirit immortal. If looking at the back of the little spirit immortal makes people daydream, so the front of the little spirit immortal is enough to make people feel ashamed and unable to conceive any thoughts of blasphemy. She was wearing a blue long skirt, with a waistband outlining a graceful grip. The whole person is light and graceful, like a celestial being descending to earth. And her appearance is pure and beautiful, like the most exquisite masterpiece of heaven. With every frown, smile, and glance, even the void around me seemed to have a radiance. This woman's appearance is hardly inferior to Shen Tian's. But not everyone wants to see the little spirit immortal. For example, Song, the shopkeeper of Linglong. "Fairy, why are you here again?" Shopkeeper Song laughed more than he cried when he saw Xiao and said, "The green jade Linglong ding you opened last time has made me feel sorry for half a month." Xiao smiled slightly, making countless people drunk. "I heard that Boss Song has brought in another batch of good goods." Linger came to take a look. "Linglong is open for business." "Why, isn't Mr. Song welcoming me?" I dare not, please show mercy to the fairy." Mr. Song wiped away his sweat and realized that there were not many people in the Wanling garden who dared to offend the little spirit immortal. If I dare not let Xiao enter, wouldn't the crazy fans even block his store door? Xiao walked into the Tianling pavilion one after another, his gaze wandering on the rows of shelves displaying spiritual minerals. In his eyes, there was a faint golden glow flickering. Suddenly, there were screams of surprise in the crowd. The dazzling golden light in the eyes is perhaps the supreme divine skill of the spiritual pulse master. The breaking meridian golden eyes. Legend has it that after the cultivation of the breaking meridian golden eyes technique, all the spiritual minds in the world are as deep as observing fire, and can be viewed without any obstacles, making it invincible. At the age of only 16, he was able to practice such a divine skill, truly deserving of the title of Little Spirit Immortal. Listening to the astonishment of everyone around him, Shen Tian felt lost in thought. Is it because the little spirit immortal relies solely on his own strength to mine, rather than relying on luck like others, that he cannot see opportunities? But explaining it this way feels a bit far-fetched. Shen Tian was full of doubts and stared directly at the little spirit immortal. Quickly, Xiao found his desired spiritual ore in the Linglong. "I have chosen it, just this one." That is a piece of ore about the size of a human head, looking dull, and not even placed on the shelf. The price tag placed in front of it is 15 spirit stones, which is equivalent to 15,000 taels of silver. It's very cheap. This. Mr. Song's heart immediately panicked when he saw that Xiao had made a good choice. Did you choose such a big one? However, at this point, the little spirit immortal had already taken out 15 spirit stones from his wallet and placed them on the counter. She chuckled and said, "Once selected, both the money and the goods are settled. It's either a profit or a loss, and there are no returns or exchanges. Mr. Song can't go back on his word. Hey, okay. Boss Song sighed, as if knowing that there was inevitably heavy bleeding today. Is the fairy driving it herself, or should I arrange for someone to drive it for you? In Linglong, carving stones is also a craft. The same spiritual ore, opened well, can perfectly retain spiritual energy and sell for a good price to the greatest extent possible. If not driven properly, it may damage the foundation of the spirit stone, causing the leakage of spiritual energy, unable to retain it for a long time, and causing a significant decline in value. Therefore, Linglong will also arrange professional quarrying personnel to assist buyers in quarrying. Of course, this is not free of charge. If a valuable spirit stone is opened, the spirit stone workshop needs to charge a 10% profit as a commission for opening the stone. This is also one of the main sources of income for Linglong. You can earn blood, but the shop will never lose. Xiao Lingxian put away his wallet and said, Boss Song knows Linger's rules and has always been selective. Upon hearing that Xiao Lingxian was not planning to mine on his own, Boss Song's expression was quite pleasing. Anyway, that big guy will be sold in the store sooner or later. Selling to anyone is not selling. Selling to the little spirit immortal can at least yield a 10% benefit. Fairy, please wait a moment. I will immediately arrange for the best stonecutter in the store to mine for you. Quickly, layers of stone skin were carefully peeled off. When the ore was only about the size of a fist, a hint of emerald green light shone out from around the stone skin. The hazy color makes people look very comfortable. Shipped. The little spirit immortal is truly a little spirit immortal. A fist-sized rough embryo of a spirit stone can be cut into at least 100 spirit stones. You know what? There might be a spirit crystal inside a fist-sized spirit stone rough embryo. If a spirit crystal really emerges, one can be worth 1,000 spirit stones. NV. In the end, the stone skin was completely cleaned. A rough and translucent spirit stone, resembling jade, appeared in front of everyone. In the center of the rough embryo of the spirit stone, a crystal the size of a mung bean can still be vaguely seen, emitting a faint luster. Lingjing, there really is Lingjing. Boss Song said with a mournful expression, it seems that a spirit crystal has been born inside the rough embryo of this spirit stone, estimated to be around 800 to 1200 spirit stones. Xiao Lingxian smiled slightly and said, let's count it as 800 spirit stones and sell them to Boss Song. Boss Song was immediately surprised and said, then I won't accept the fairy's stone money. Please wait a moment for the fairy, I'll go get the money. Undoubtedly a little spirit immortal, it is grandeur. Boss Song, please be content. Let the little spirit immortal choose, and you can still earn 400 to 500 spirit stones. That's right, my little spirit fairy is so easy to talk about. If it were someone else, you wouldn't even earn half a spirit stone. What's your little spirit fairy? You're thinking about farting. What are you looking at? Do you want to fight? The atmosphere gradually heated up, while Xiao Lingxian remained calm and indifferent. It seems that even if hundreds of spirit stones are obtained, she is not qualified to cause any emotional fluctuations. Supernatural like a fairy. Boss Song is very kind in doing business. Linger will come again next time. Seeing Mr. Song's face turn black again, Xiao Lingxian covered her mouth and smiled lightly. Besides, there are many good things in the goods that Mr. Song has purchased this time. Turning around, the little spirit immortal left slowly and said, Linger once swore to only open one stone a day and will not open it again today. If you are interested, you can try your luck and perhaps encounter a great opportunity. As soon as the words fell, the little spirit immortal had gracefully disappeared from everyone's sight. Wave your sleeves, not taking away a cloud. End of this chapter. 10, Chapter 10. How can you not be desperate? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. How can you not be desperate? overturning the country and the city, as graceful as an immortal. This is the image of the little spirit immortal in everyone's heart, perfect and inviolable. Everyone watched as the little spirit immortal left, reluctant to part, looking very much like the star chaser Shen Tian had seen in his previous life. Devout yet obsessed. Xiao Lingxian has left again, and my love has also left. Wake up my friend, you don't have love. What did Xiao Lingxian say just now? She seems to have said that there are still many opportunities in the Tianling Pavilion. Xiao Lingxian has cultivated a divine skill. Breaking meridian and golden eyes, which can see through the world's spiritual minds. She said there is something good in the Tianling Pavilion, so there must be something. Brothers, here's our chance to get rich. I think that golden spiritual ore is good, with a delicate curve and hidden spiritual light. There must be a big treasure inside. I think that blue one is better. It has a unique shape, like a fairy holding a chain, maybe it can bloom into a fairy. Don't snatch, mine, it's all mine. In a moment, the business of the entire Tianling Pavilion improved. And the expression on the face of shopkeeper Song, who had originally been distressed, also became slightly more attractive. Shen Tian stared at the direction in which little spirit immortal had left, reluctant to part. He didn't want to part with the little spirit fairy, but rather didn't understand the situation and felt uneasy in his heart. The only hope for the 13th prince, who was born unlucky, to change his destiny against the heavens is to seize the opportunity of other atmospheric fortune-tellers. Now there is a person who cannot check the chance, and Shen Tian feels that this woman must be a variable. And the variables make Shen Tian feel very insecure. Shen Gongzi, if you really like her, then catch up with her. Yes, Shen Gongzi. Little Lingxian is the most suitable person for you. Don't let yourself regret it. Gue Gonggang and Qin Gao both advised Shen Tian with reluctance on his face. Shen Tian said indifferently, I, the 13th prince of the great flame country, how can I track a little girl? Gue Gonggang whispered, Shen Gongzi, I just saw someone sneakily following little Lingxian. It doesn't look like a good person. What? Someone is sneaking along with the little spirit immortal, with ulterior motives. Upon hearing Guegong's words, Shen Tian instantly became excited. The shameless criminal followed the peerless fairy with ulterior motives, and was bravely rescued by a passing male protagonist. The fairy was grateful and agreed with her. Isn't this the most common and classic plot in novels? How lucky he was to be touched. Now that both the villain and the fairy have appeared. So the male lead should also appear soon, and he is definitely a lucky person. As long as he finds a way to make friends with this atmospheric fortune-teller, Shen Tian believes that he will soon encounter another great opportunity to improve his luck. Just thinking about it makes me feel so happy. Gue Gonggang looked at Shen Tian with a smile on his face and had to remind him, Shen Gongzi, if you don't chase after him, it won't be too late. Shen Tian regained his senses and hurriedly said, let's go, let's follow up. Gue Gonggang was once taught basic cultivation techniques by Lady Lan, and after decades of hard work, his cultivation level had already reached the 5th level of Qi refining realm. After transitioning to the Sun Demon scripture, his cultivation has made even more rapid progress. In just 3 days, he broke through to the 7th level of the Qi refining realm. Combined with the tracking secret recorded in the Sun Demon Classic, the three of them quickly caught up with the little spirit immortal. At this moment, Xilingxian had already left Wanlingyuan and arrived at a remote alley. She stood quietly in the alley and said indifferently, come out. Whoosh! A figure suddenly fell from the sky and stopped in front of the little spirit immortal. He smiled and said, Xiao Lingxian, give me the things. Sure enough, it was extortion and robbery. Qin Gao was an impatient person and asked softly, Your Highness, shall we take action? Shen Tian said indifferently, stupid. That's it, stupid. Gue Gonggang pulled Qin Gao back and explained softly, use your brain, this guy is just robbing money now, and he's not robbing anyone. His Highness is now reaching out to help, and at most, he will say, "Great hero, you are really a good person." But Miss Xiaolixian is so beautiful, this thief will definitely be tempted to act recklessly later. Let's take action then. Heroes save the beauty, and His Highness 13 is so handsome and unparalleled. Why worry about the beauty not liking her? Is the old slave right, Your Highness? Qingyue couldn't help but admire Guigong's explanation and exclaimed, "Hi! Your Highness, you are indeed high." Shen Tian rolled his eyes and said, "What's all this about?" The reason why he hasn't made a move yet is simple. The male lead hasn't appeared yet. He wants to meet the mysterious and atmospheric male protagonist. He must wait for the male protagonist to come out and save his beauty, and then help him together. In this way, we can share weal and woe together, and become close friends in the future, which is convenient for us to rely on our luck. If Shen Tian and his team take action now and beat this criminal away. What if the male protagonist, who is lucky enough to have a good fortune, doesn't think it's necessary to appear and just leave? Wait a little longer. Shen Tian and his companions lay on the roof, quietly watching the gangster extort money. Xiaolixian sighed when he saw the criminal blocking the way, and slowly untied the money bag from his waist. "Hey, can't you leave some for me?" The gangster chuckled and said, "Sure. If the fairy is willing to be my Taoist couple, I can give all this bag of spirit stones to the fairy." There it is. The legendary calamity. Guigong expressed his excitement and said, "Your Highness, we can take action now." 16 years have passed, and His Highness has finally grown up and developed an interest in girls. As long as His Highness can successfully save the beauty and capture the heart of the little spirit immortal girl, he will soon be able to pass on the family line. At that time, Empress Lan will have knowledge and be able to smile from the bottom of the spring. Qingyue was also very excited and said, "Your Highness, let's take action." Wait a little longer. Shen Tian was not in a hurry and calmly said, "Now is not the right time. That atmospheric male protagonist hasn't appeared yet. On the other side." Upon hearing the gangster's words, Xiaolixian's face immediately darkened and he said, "Impossible, delusional." After speaking, she threw the money bag directly to the criminal and turned around to leave. Strangely enough, the criminal did not pursue him. Suddenly, Duke Guigong became anxious and said, "How could this criminal not be pursued? Your Highness, we must take action now. If we don't save the beauty with heroes, little spirit fairy will run away." After finally encountering such an excellent opportunity, how could His Highness the 13th Prince drop the chain at a critical moment? Guigong is simply heartbroken. Shen Tian is also very heartbroken. This script is not right. Reasonably, the following script. Shouldn't it be the gangster who smirked and stopped the little spirit immortal, preparing for sexual assault, and then the male protagonist made a brilliant appearance? Why is this gangster so dignified? Before the calamity, he asked the little spirit fairy if he agreed. If they don't agree, you can't act recklessly. Chase after her, bully her, invade her, possess her. Do you still have any professional qualities as a thug? As a thug, you are so easy to talk about. How can the male protagonist save the beauty through heroism? It's simply disappointing. Watching the little spirit immortal walk further and further, they were almost leaving the alley. Shen Tian sighed. There's no way, he can only take action in person. Although the atmospheric male protagonist did not appear, Xiaolixian is also a red ring atmospheric protagonist. Now take action to save the beauty with heroes and make friends with little spirit immortal. Perhaps in the future, one can also gain luck from the little spirit immortal. Having it is better than not having it. After making the decision, Shen Tian shouted loudly, "Bold criminal, how dare you flirt with good women in broad daylight? Let's drink it out loud." Shen Tian took a deep breath and suddenly jumped off the roof, landing in front of the little spirit immortal. Pop! Oh, damn it, who threw the banana peel? Do you have any sense of public morality? End of this chapter.